What's up, family? So, usually I write out my blog posts. However, my chief editor, aka my fiance, is actually at a summer camp in Pennsylvania, and I'm down here in Nashville, staying with a host family for my training here. And so it's kind of a decision between can I trust my grammar skills or should I just try to figure something else out? And so here we are. But thinking about that camp that she's working at, I actually worked there the last 2 years. One of my favorite days at the camp is the sports camp. One of my favorite days was track day. That was a day where the campers got the opportunity to compete in not only the track races but also all the field events. And thinking on that day and remembering, of course, the main event being the 50-yard dash and the 100-yard dash, I remember so many times watching them, and I had thought of so many parallels between that and life, and how life is often similar to what happens on the track. And so I want to share with you really quickly just 4 reasons as to why we end up not being as successful in this race towards success and this race to maximize our potential as we desire to be. And number one is a lack of conditioning. Any good track runner knows that the race starts long before they blow the whistle or they fire the gun. It actually starts in practice. It starts in their preparation, that they have to gain the right way of running, and they have to gain the right conditioning to be able to run their race to the utmost effectiveness and their greatest potential. And I believe the same thing is true for you and I, and that we must be able to do the correct things to prepare for our dream to come true, and to be able to prepare for that moment where we'll actually make the biggest impact and have the greatest success. Because it's not really about that particular moment. It's really about all the smaller, seemingly insignificant moments that led up to it. And so, really, if you take a look at your daily schedule and the things that you do on a regular basis, it really reveals where you're going in life. That if I looked at your calendar and I looked at your daily schedule, I looked at the things that you do every single day, it will show me where you're going. And so, if you have a destination in mind, you must be able or be willing to do the things every day that it takes to get there. That's all in preparation, because success is not made in the grand public event. True success happens in private daily training. And so you have to have the proper conditioning. And number two, a false start. Before the race officially begins, and you have this moment where all the runners are lined up at the line in their stance, and they're waiting for them to blow the whistle or to shoot the gun. And if any of them moves before that happens, they're actually disqualified. And I thought that was a really interesting thought when you come to success and into our lives, in that the moment where you will maximize your potential and the moment where you'll find the greatness and you'll see your dreams come true, it may not come when you want it. And oftentimes it won't. It won't, and at least it won't be immediate. It won't happen overnight. And so you must be willing to go through the process. And it's really a matter of timing. Because if you do something too early or at not the right time, you will always end up falling into failure. You'll never be as successful as you want it to be. Oftentimes because, one, you wouldn't have been as ready for it as you thought you were, or number two, the season or all the different parameters and things or the events and the environment just wasn't ready for what you were trying to do. It just wasn't the right time. The people you're trying to work with, they weren't ready for it. And so we must be sensitive not only to what and how we want to do something, but also when is the best time. Because just because it's a good thing doesn't mean it's a thing to do right now. It may take some time. It may be a process, but we want to be ready and prepared for when that time does come. And so, one, a lack in conditioning. Two, a false start. And then number three is really a matter of not staying in our own lane. One of the most frustrating things to see a camper do was to see them be running and then turn and start looking at somebody else. The problem with that is when they turn and they allow their mind to drift away from what they're supposed to be doing and to what somebody else is doing, two things end up happening. Number one, they start drifting over to that other person's lane, and as soon as they cross the line, they end up being disqualified and their time doesn't even count. Or two, by looking at them and focusing on what that other person does, they end up subconsciously slowing down and not running to their full potential. The same thing ends up happening in our lives, that when we're focusing on what someone else is accomplishing, what someone else is doing, we end up wanting to be like them and wanting to do what they're doing, or at least not feeling that we're doing anything significant with our lives. I at least know that that's what ends up happening to me. And we look at their lives and we think that it's perfect. We think that they're doing everything better. They got it made. But we don't necessarily see all the preparation that they put in to get there. Or number two, the things that may not be as good about their lives and as good as about what they're doing and the struggles that they have. We don't necessarily see those things. We just focus on the highlight reel of their life. And so the point here is to focus on what you should be doing. Focus on what you should do with your life and not what somebody else is doing. One of my mentors always said that if you're trying to be like somebody else and the two of you are just the same, one of you aren't necessary. And so focus on what you are uniquely cut out for and what you are called to do, which is different from anybody else's. It's going to look different. It's going to work out different. It's going to happen in a different time. But that's okay. Get rid of the comparison with other people's lives and focus on what you're supposed to do with your life. And so finally, you have lack of conditioning, you have false starts, you have not staying in your lane, and then finally, you stop running. Another frustrating thing that we will often see campers do is that right before they get to the finish line, they quit, they stop, they slow down, they stop running, and they don't run through. That's why if you ever ran track, you would know that one of the major things that they tell you is to run through and don't slow down until you already crossed the line. And that's my encouragement to you too, is to keep running. To don't stop just because it gets difficult. Don't stop because it gets hard. Don't stop because it gets frustrating. Yes, success always is harder than you want it to be, and it takes longer than you believe that it should take. But don't stop running. Keep going. Keep trying to reach your goal. Keep trying to change your lives and make an impact on the people around you. Because eventually, I don't know when, I can't say how long, but eventually you're going to reach your goal. Eventually your dream will come true, if that is the dream that you're supposed to be focusing on with your life. It will come true. You will see it happen, but just don't stop running. And so that's my thoughts for this week. I hope you enjoyed them. I hope they're helpful. And I hope you can too go and be successful in this race of life. All right, see you later. Thanks for listening and create a great day.